Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and spring is finally here, so now I can discuss all of my winter favorites. These are mostly the non-bookish things I have been loving throughout the winter season, and I'm so excited to basically just gab about some of my favorite things that I would highly recommend that you either try out, watch, use, or engage with. So let's start out with the trinkets that I've been loving because I've gotten really big into collecting different things, whether it be decor or cute little things that I can't resist. So let's start out with something that I have been yearning for a couple of years now, and it's very difficult to get because whenever these go on sale on the website, it sells out within minutes, and I've tried multiple times to get it. But one time I went onto the website randomly because I saw them post on their Instagram stories, and I was able to get my hands on a York ghost. These are really cool ghosts that are sold in York, England, and they have a bunch of different patterns. And this is the classic York ghost that they became famous for, and they posted this on their story because that's the only way that you can learn about their ghost drops. And they posted it on their story, and I was like, let me just check the website to see if they're still on sale because I was a couple minutes late to it. And the other times that I tried to get a ghost, I wasn't able to. And I went into the website and they had a bunch. So I texted my friend Jessica and we both got ourselves a classic York ghost. I do eventually want to go to York, England to pick out a bunch of ghosts for myself to bring back home because I love how creepy and mysterious they look. I love the different patterns that they have, and I'm really happy I was able to get myself a classic York ghost. It has like a decent weight to it and it is so cool on my bookshelves. I'm so happy I was able to finally get myself a ghost because I've been following them for years now, and they are the only Instagram account that I have notifications on for. So whenever they post a story or they post in their feed, I get a notification and I am like on top of it because I want ghosts to add to my room, and I'm so happy I was able to finally get one. Another thing that I have become obsessed with that I own 4 of are Sonny angels. I have fallen into the trap of loving Sonny angels, and I have 3 to show you. So we have the duck Sonny angel, which was my first ever Sonny angel. I have a snake Sonny angel, which is very iconic because if you follow me over on Instagram, you would know that I really enjoy snakes, and I wanted one put around my shoulders last year, and I had that dream come true. So this was very much like Olivia core energy, which I'm very happy about. And then what initially made me obsessed with Sonny angels was going to Kinokuniya in New York City, and they have a whole collection of Sonny angels right when you walk into the bookshop, and I saw this one Sonny angel that I fell in love with, and it made me actually like interested in collecting them, and it was the mouse Sonny angel. And I thought the mouse Sonny angel was just so cute. I loved its ears. Maybe it's because I love Disney, but I've been wanting a mouse Sonny angel for such a long amount of time, and I ended up getting a Valentine's Day Sonny angel box, and look what came in the box. A purple mouse Sonny angel, which is perfect because one of my favorite colors is purple and I love the mouse, and it's like the best of both worlds. So I'm so happy with my little collection of Sonny angels. So many people like don't understand the appeal of it, but I just think they're really cute. They're little cherubs and they have the cute little wings on the back, and that's what makes them so adorable. And I'm not like the big collector of Sonny angels. And the 4th one that I have on my bag is a mouse Sonny angel from the Valentine's Day collection, and I was just too lazy to take it off of my bag, so I'll insert a photo for you to see. And I love Sonny angels. I think they're so cute. Every time people do unboxings of them on TikTok, I am watching that video in its entirety because I'm genuinely curious, and I love the happiness that people have when they open up the Sonny angel. I love when people say like, this is the one that I really want, this is the one that I don't really want, and I think it's so cute, and I'm really happy with all the ones that I've gotten so far. The next thing that I've been loving is pretty niche because I only ever tried it from my local cafe that I always go to, and I went there today before filming this video, and they told me that the flavor that I love is sold out, and it is a red velvet latte. In my local coffee shop, they put a little bit of red velvet cake crumbs on the top of the latte, and it tastes so good. And it was on their holiday menu, and they just kind of had the syrup left over after the holidays, so I was constantly ordering red velvet lattes even though it wasn't on the menu. If you have never tried one and you go to a cafe and they randomly have the flavor red velvet latte, I would definitely give it a shot. If you like a mocha, you'll most definitely just like a red velvet latte because a red velvet cake is mostly just a mocha cake with red food dye in it, which I don't know if is healthy because like red food dye is like not good for you, but I don't know, the red velvet latte makes me happy, and if I have a little bit of red 40 while drinking my red velvet latte, like, it's fine. I'm still here, aren't I? And another random thing that I've been loving is wearing a beret. And I'm not wearing a beret in this video, but I have a black beret and a gray beret. And I just added a cute little Scotty pin to my black beret because I really want a Scotty. And my brother's girlfriend thrifted this Scotty pin for me, so I added it to the rim of the beret so it'll like show like right here when I wear it. And I just love a beret. I think it's great for like a bad hair day. I think it's great if you don't necessarily want to truly style your hair. If you're like me and you have wavy or curly hair, you know, like those days where you just don't want to have to fuss with it. Throwing a beret on makes you look classy, makes you look really dolled up, and I just love wearing them throughout the winter. I'm not a big like knit hat girl because when I wear a knit hat, it flattens my hair so much that I have to commit to wearing it all day. A beret I can take on and off and just kind of like fluff my hair at the top and then it'll look great again, and I've been loving it. So that is something that I have been adding into my wardrobe that I really enjoy. And let me show you something else that I have in my wardrobe that you've seen in a video that I'm obsessed with. It is this New York City cardigan. So there's this independent shop in New York City called Mure and Grand, which I'll link down below, and they have these really nice knit cardigans, and they have ones that are covered in ribbons, they have ones that are covered in croissants, ones that are covered in like tomatoes, hearts, and this one is covered in New York City coffee cups and taxis. I've been really drawn to this blue color lately. I think it really pops, and I think that it matches like my hair because blue and brown go together, and I love how thick it is. The knit material feels so soft and sturdy, and it is just a beautiful knit cardigan because I've been wanting a Taylor Swift cardigan, but I cannot justify both the price and also the quality because the quality is so low, it is so thin, it looks like it'll fall apart within a couple of washes, but this one is like a really nice quality knit cardigan that still gives me the vibes that I would want from a Taylor Swift cardigan, but this one is centered around New York City. Adding a little bit more color into my wardrobe because you all know I love wearing earth tones. I'm trying to add more bright colors into my wardrobe that would go well with my skin tone and with my hair. Now let's get into beauty products because I have a couple of things that I have been loving. One is the lipstick that I'm currently wearing, which is Revlon's 245 in the color Smoky Rose. It's a super lustrous lipstick. I'm a really big fan of Revlon's lipsticks, and I find them to always be classic and they last a very long time. I don't feel like I have to reapply it. It's only really when I eat that I reapply the Revlon lipsticks, and I like this color because it is like a brownish color, but it has a bit of a shimmer to it, so it feels like I'm not only wearing lipstick but lip gloss because I'm not the biggest fan of matte lipstick. I do have my Merit Beauty ones that are matte. I like a little bit of a shimmer. I think it's a little bit more natural in a way. I don't like when my lips just look like a flat color that often. What is next on my favorites? Ooh, let's talk about my curl creams. I have two curl creams that I want to mention. One is a Curl Can Dream. I don't know if I've mentioned this one before, but a Curl Can Dream is recommended to me by my hairstylist. One of my favorite curl creams was discontinued, and I literally called up my hairstylist and I was like, our favorite curl cream was discontinued, what should I buy? And he recommended a Curl Can Dream, and I have been loving this cream. I'm almost done with it, and it has the nicest smell. I would say it's like a mixture between like a rose and another flower. I'm not good at describing scents, but this is a great curl cream for my type of hair and even curlier. I think if you have curlier hair, you should definitely try this out. It's about 20 bucks, so I think it's worth it because it's lasted me a pretty long time. The only thing is, during the winter, I don't think I can use this curl cream. I'm just gonna go into like the curly hair journey right now. I don't think I could use this curl curl cream in the winter because there's a lack of humidity in the winter, so my hair isn't as fluffy and voluminous as it is during the summer. And this has a very strong hold, and I think that this hold has been a little bit too strong for my hair, so I got myself Marc Anthony's Strictly Curls Curl Envy cream, and this one has a much lighter hold. So if you have waves like my hair, I would recommend this one because it's much more lightweight than this one, and I think it's very nice. This is day 2 hair. I don't feel like my hair ever looks the best on day 2. I just wish I knew how to refresh my curls and make them feel as soft and beautifully formed as when they are on day 1. So if you have any tips, let me know. But these are 2 curl creams that I have fallen in love with. It's very hard for me to find a curl cream that I enjoy, and this one I'm going to go back to when it gets a little bit warmer out. This one I'm going to use on day 2 because on day 2 I can't add too much curl cream back into my hair, and this one again is much more lightweight. So I'm really happy with both of these. Another thing that I've been loving that I actually don't have right now are red nails. I think red nails are so classic and classy. It makes me feel so feminine. Maybe it's because like we as a society have decided that red nails are like the most classy looking nail that you can have, but there's just something about having a fresh set of red nails that makes me so happy, especially if I'm wearing the color blue with it, because red and blue are primary colors and they go so well together, and seeing the red contrast against the blue is so pleasing to me. Whenever I see other people with red nails of any shade and variety, I think it's so beautiful. Another thing that I've been loving is Pilates. I've been on the hunt for a workout for me that doesn't suck the happiness out of my entire soul, and yoga is just not the match for me. I find it to be a little bit too slow, so I decided to start doing Pilates again, and I am in love with it. I'll be sure to link my favorite Pilates channel down below because her videos are so pleasing to watch. She does it in like 30-second increments and she doesn't speak the entire time. So what I do is I put my Pilates video on my iPad and then I put my phone right next to my iPad and I play a YouTube video while I'm doing Pilates, because I learned over time that I have to trick myself into working out, and if I'm doing it in complete silence, it's not sparking any joy inside my mind, and I need to trick myself with joy in order to work out. So what brings me joy? Watching YouTube videos. So I put a YouTube video while I'm playing the Pilates. It's like usually a video that I don't necessarily have to look at because sometimes you're doing different movements where you're not looking at the screen, and that is totally fine. As long as I'm hearing something, even an audiobook, I am getting mentally stimulated while I'm working out. And I feel like it's the equivalent of people playing music while they go to the gym. You need to like stimulate your brain while you're doing something a little bit mundane. And I think that's why I didn't really like yoga, because yoga, they're talking the whole time. They're telling you to breathe. They're telling you to think of a scenario. That constant talking is just like not my favorite thing. So that's why I love this specific YouTuber so much that I forgot the name of, that just has these little timers that go off so I can hear when it goes off, but I can also have something playing in the background that I find enjoyable. So I've been really loving Pilates, and I also just love the feeling that it gives me. I feel myself getting stronger. I feel myself holding my body weight better. And let's move on to some pieces of media that I have been loving. I feel like I'm getting lower in my seat as the video goes on. All of these pieces of media I have spoken about in other vlogs of mine, but you're just gonna have to hear me yap about it all over again because why not? The first thing that I'm going to talk about that I'm not ashamed to love is Rings of Power. Yeah, I said it. I love Rings of Power. Everyone I speak to hates Rings of Power. My aunt, who introduced me to Lord of the Rings, who recently passed away, hated Rings of Power because she's a big Lord of the Rings head, and she's like, it's not canon, it's not accurate. And I'm like, listen, Thea. I love it. Why? Because I will take any ounce of Lord of the Rings media and I will cherish it. Yes, season 1 is bad and boring, and a lot of people get lost by the end of it, you know? They're like, I'm gonna give up. I get that. But if you're like me and you're like, I thought it was good. I watched every episode. I was okay with it. If you get to season 2, I genuinely feel like it is a cinematic season that is on par with House of the Dragon. I said it. I said it. Sue me. I think that Rings of Power is so impressive at feeling cinematic, at feeling grand and exciting and exhilarating. And I think that season 2 is very powerful. One, because there are so many amazing cameos. Two, because there's a sense of urgency, because one, we know who Sauron is now, and two, he wants to make the Rings of Power as soon as possible so he can gain control of everyone in the world and just take over. The sense of urgency is so palpable throughout every episode, and I think that season 2 was a great bridge between season 1, introducing all the characters, and eventually the season 3 that we're going to get, where things are going to get even worse as Sauron is ramping up with his power. The actress who plays Galadriel is fantastic. I think the person who plays Sauron is fantastic. I think that the battle episode, I think like the second to last episode of Rings of Power, or maybe even the last episode of Rings of Power, season 2, was cinematic. It was gorgeously shot. I felt like I was watching a movie, and I think that people are very hung up on it being canon and whether or not it's completely accurate, and I get that. If you're a really big Lord of the Rings fan and you focus on accuracy, this might not be your cup of tea, but I think it's really fun. I think it's a fresh new take of Lord of the Rings, and just the way that we have different adaptations of the Narnia series, I think having different adaptations of what people would interpret the Lord of the Rings to be is kind of fun. I don't really care if it's not completely accurate. Maybe it's because I haven't read the appendices of the Lord of the Rings books. Maybe it's because I haven't read the Silmarillion. Everything about it to me is beautiful. And there was actually a moment where my mom and I both cried because it reminded us so much of my aunt who introduced us to this world. And it was so beautiful to be able to watch this show after she passed away, because every moment of it reminded us of her, and it felt so special to have that shared experience of watching Rings of Power, because it made us feel a little bit closer to her in a way. And I'll always think of that when I think of Rings of Power, even though I know that she would be watching over us and being like, why are you watching this show? I hate this show. She would say it like that too. I think it's a fun show, and it really left me obsessed. And the cameos, the reveals that happened, oh my god. There was a reveal that happened that made me so giddy that I burst into tears, and I said, I love the Lord of the Rings so much. The world, the characters, the message, everything about it makes me so overwhelmed with this love for this world that Tolkien created, and I will truly cherish any piece of Lord of the Rings media, even if it's not accurate. I think it's still beautiful and really fun and makes me so excited. You've heard me speak about these other two shows so much this past winter, and it is Severance and Chernobyl. Severance, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but we are deep into this season now as I'm filming this, and I'm actually going to go over to Sarah's house tonight to watch another episode of Severance, and I think that season 2 is so good. Severance is one of the most complex shows that I've seen besides Lost, and I love how intricate and detailed they are. Every single moment matters. Every single piece of information that they provide to you has a reasoning for it, and I love how meticulous this show is, and I love how weird this show is. It is a show that I think if it wasn't on Apple Plus, it would be one of the biggest shows of all time, because not a lot of people have Apple Plus. I don't have Apple Plus, which is why I always go to Sarah's house every single week to watch Severance, because Apple Plus is just not a streaming service that I really care for, and I think if it was available on HBO, it would be such a bigger show than it already is. And it is such a fascinating story that I am so impressed that Ben Stiller helped create and direct. I love seeing all the theories that people have around Severance on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. I think the conversation and the fact that it comes out on a weekly basis helps create this community with the whole entire fan base. And I really hope that we don't have to wait 2 years for another season, because I cannot wait that long. I want season 3 to be already in production, so I know I don't have to wait as long of an amount of time. Is that how I would say it? as long an amount of time as I did with season 1 waiting for season 2. Let me talk about Chernobyl now. You're probably like, oh my god, she won't stop talking about Chernobyl. Chernobyl is a mini-series on HBO Max that I cannot recommend enough. It is told, I believe, in just 6 episodes, and it follows the entire Chernobyl disaster. I was so blown away by not only the writing of this show, but the way that they were able to fully tell you this story of this disaster within 6 episodes in a way that felt concise, interesting, and left me completely on the edge of my seat. This was one of the most exhilarating miniseries that I have ever watched. I think that every single actor completely blew me away. I think that the entire scenario shown visually was so important to show you the breadth of this entire disaster, because you can read about it as much as you like, but watching the physical effects of the Chernobyl disaster, watching the aftermath of it, and watching how this government truly didn't care about its citizens and allowed this situation to get worse than it had to be, was so fantastic. And it furthered my beliefs that nuclear power is so dangerous, it's so delicate, and has to be treated with complete and utter respect, because it is something that we cannot truly control once things go wrong, and we see that in its entirety in the show Chernobyl. Another thing that I have loved this winter that my movie club is actually going to watch next week is Nosferatu. I love Robert Eggers. I think he's one of my favorite directors of all time, next to Christopher Nolan. I think that he is a little freak who I'm obsessed with. Nosferatu is such a fantastic gothic story. It is a retelling of the original Nosferatu film, which is a ripoff of Dracula, and we follow a woman who kind of like summons up Nosferatu because she is filled with this deep sexual desire that she doesn't really know how to handle because it's told during the Victorian era. And Nosferatu is played by Bill Skarsgård, who is like amazing. I love him. I think he's such a freak. I love him. I would match his freak, you know? And we also have the original freak, Willem Dafoe, who I am obsessed with. I love him. And Nosferatu was just so gorgeously filmed. It is such a feast for your eyes, from the costumes to the cinematography to the lighting to the makeup. And Robert Eggers is really talented at immersing you into a specific time period. And he always is doing these films set in the past, and that's his strong suit. And I just love his vision. I love his commitment to being very accurate to the time period, being very accurate to the source material that he is drawing from. I think that he is such a talented director. He's only done 4 films, and every single time he does a film, he gets better and better. And I'm so glad that he's getting as popular as he is, because he has such a unique vision, and I love seeing it come to life, and I just love every story that he has told. And that is the end of my favorites video. I have yapped a lot about things that I have been loving, whether it be makeup, whether it be clothing, whether it be little trinkets, or shows and movies that I'm obsessed with. Nosferatu really impressed me, and it was like my movie of the winter. I haven't been watching a lot of movies lately because nothing's really been calling to me that's come out in the theaters lately, but Nosferatu was like the last film where I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I saw it in theaters. But let me know what you've been loving during the winter. If there's a specific show that you're obsessed with, or a specific movie, or a product or thing that you have just been loving during the winter season, I would love to know down below. If you want to follow me anywhere else on social media, I post a lot on my Instagram stories. I post pretty frequently over on TikTok. All my links are down below. And if you stayed this far in the video, leave a blue heart emoji so we can see who stays for the longest. If you do, I really do appreciate it. And I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you around very soon. Bye!